Welcome to War Power Made Easy. And today we are doing session number 37. However, session number 37 is just a review chapter. So let's get this going with pretty fast and darn fast too. I'm gonna try to do this lickety split in 5 minutes. Let's get this started with. Firstly, let's start off with session 32, where this is where we get a bunch of talking. This is where we find out about our words and everything. Blah, 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 blah. Let's start off with ideas, and this is where we get the word convival. Then we get like tiring now, and that's indefatigable because you literally cannot get fatigue. You have no mining fatigue. You have no breaking fatigue ever. Then you also have no secrets. This is the ingenuity of everything. Ping. Sharpness is this perspicacious. This is where perspication actually happens. And then we have duplicating. This is the magnanimous things, and that's pretty much good too. And then we also have one personal orchestras where these people are versatile. They're like, hey, you're this for one moment, then you're this, and 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 then you also don't grumble. That's basically where stoical is. And then you have no fear, where this is intrepid, and a bunch of other things start happening too. And there's also all those things like scintillating, those kind of things, and that's pretty darn good too. And slickers, that's basically urbane, and boom bada bing bang boom bam bing bang boom bang. And yeah, that's basically where you get everything from the rural areas to the urban areas all the way to the suburban areas. Okay, finishing my rant there. Next up, we have session number 33, where we're talking about a bunch of other things. Like, if you remember from previous episodes, this is where we get the words eat, drink, and marry. Like vivo, viva la viva, vivo la viva. That's basically Latin. Vivo is Latin for live, and convivo is just Latin for to live together, and convival is just a noun version of convivo. And that's actually all pretty good and up living up. Next one, we have to talk about vivo, also Latin for live. However, this one is for like the ones in vivacious and those kind of things. And this is more of like a viva. And finally, we have vita. Now, vita is just variations of vivo and viva and vita, and these are like Latin, all mean Latin for life. And vita, revitalize, vitamins, those actually all come into here pretty well. Then we also have French life, where this is like bon vivant, and this is French derived, and basically means luxuriously living person. And finally, last but not least, we have to talk about gourmet. I don't accept the cookies. I only eat gourmet food. And they're like, what, really? You're like a offer. You will only eat fancy food? Yes. Next up, we have session number 34. This one's interesting. Let's start off with the no fatigue. This is where we get indefatigable, and this is where you add the in, meaning not, with fatigue, and this is where you get the word indefatigable, which basically means unable to fatigue, and if you have fatigue, that's pretty darn annoying. Next up, we have to talk about simple things, like you're not complicated, those kind of things. You're simple, no complications, that kind of thing, and it's kind of ingenuous and everything. It's like in and genuine, it basically means you're frank, you're open, and you're also pretty smart too, if that was ingenuity, but this is not that. Next up, we have belief and disbelief. This is credulous, and this is where we actually get to use the root credo, which is also where we get the word credit from. And the basic credulous basically means you extend some credit towards you, that kind of thing. So we have what people believe in, and this is credo for like the personal belief, and creed for religious belief, and credo. And then we have credence, which basically is the belief, like in belief something will work, belief in something that will not work, those kind of things. And then credentials, it is your right to like titles or items or documents approved by some documents. And the heads and tails, in disingenuous, not frank, or closed, that's actually pretty good too. Last but not least, we're gonna have to talk about session number 35 and 36. But so I guess we'll have to talk about second to last. Let's start off with how to look. This is where specto comes in. Specto is basically Latin for to look, and spectator, spectacle, inspect, retrospect, those kind of things actually all come into here too, and this is all pretty darn good and living up to. Next up, we have to talk about like sharpness and those kind of things. Sharpness is basically where you get those acuo, the Latin for sharpen, and also the god sword. The god sword is a netherite sword with sharpness 5, flame 2, knockback 2, unbreaking 2, mending 1, looting 2, smite 1, bait and arthropods 1, and sweeping edge 1. Those are all the best sword enchantments you can actually put on there, and that's actually where we get a bunch of things. So some more looking, this is like perspicuous, easily understood, and perspicacious, and this is like the smart, sharp, those kind of things. And you know, I can like kill you anytime, right? Yeah, I can. And that's actually where we actually get a bunch of spectacular items and those kind of darn great pudding things. Next up, last on session number 35, we have specious argument, where it feels like this argument is legit, but however, it's actually based on an error. Next up, we'll talk about session number 36, which is like talking about the great and the small. Now, magnus, large and great, and the magnus animus. This is where we get magnanimous. And magnanimous is like largely imitates like a large mind. Next thing we have pusillanimous, which is like small and tiny. If you add that to animus, which also means the mind and the soul, you get pusillanimous, which is pretty big. Next up, we also talk about equanimity, which is just animity added with equus, which basically means equal, and equanimity just like in the middle. Finally, next up, we have verto for versatile. Then we have Zeno in his port. Apparently, Zeno, this is the guy who actually said, you walk from your porch to the park. Let's just say that it's a 1 mile distance. Then you walk half a mile. Then you walk a quarter mile. Then you walk an eighth mile. Then you walk a 16th mile. Then you walk a 32nd of a mile. And then you walk 1/64th of a mile. Then 128th of a mile. Then 356th of a mile. And 812th of a mile, and so on, and so on, and so on. So what is the distance between your porch and the park now? Well, he said infinity, but scientists actually nowadays say this. It's still 1 mile, Zeno, you idiot. Oh. See what I tell you? Zeno did say this paradox, but the porch itself is actually why his followers are called Stoics, and Stoa is just the root for porch. Next up, we have to talk about fear and trembling and all those kinds of things. Where we talk about trepido. This is to like to tremble and everything. And if you're trembling, and then you add that to intrepido, then you get intrepid. And then the quick flash. Super fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. That kind of thing. This is where we get the quick flash or scintilla, which is like a quick bright spark. It's also where we get the English word scintilla, which is also means quick bright spark. Gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast, gotta go fast. The Flash. Right, next and finally, last but not least, city and the country. Urbane, rural, rustic, and suburbia. Let's start off with urbane. This is the city, and this is where we get the word urban. And suburban, this is where we get the word suburban. It's like town, and this is just a suburb, ma'am. Next up, we have rustic, which is like country, and this is like rural. That's about it. So hopefully you guys actually did enjoy this episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, and until next time, should I not, please, and please wear a helmet. Gotta go fast. Bye-bye.